Hey you guys, it's Cayley. I'm back with another What Sold from last week video. In today's video, we'll be going over the sales that are happening on eBay and Poshmark right now. We'll do a deep dive into some of the specific items and brands that are selling.
All right, so all these sales happened between March 3rd through the 9th. I had a pretty decent sales week. In total, I sold 283 items for a gross item sales total of $8,155.13, making my overall average item sale price $28.82. On eBay, I sold 100 items. On Poshmark, I sold 183. Reason for that was running a closet clear out either just as this week was started or like this week was a day after or something like that. I can't remember, but these are the effects of closet clear out towards the beginning of the month, which seems to happen every single month for us because we do utilize that. Very happy to say though, even though much lower average sale price on Poshmark for moving out some of the older items, on eBay we did have a really great average item sale price of $41.33. If you guys have been following along this journey with me, I have been on a goal to get back to between $35 and $40 average item sale price. Definitely the items we are bringing in now are falling under that category, but we do still have older items, as most of us do, that no longer fit our business model that we're clearing out, which is why overall average sale price is a bit lower. But hopefully as that stuff continues to move out, I just ended about 1,000 items that we're going to move out in different ways. That stuff will stop weighing the store down and I'll be able to get to this for both platforms. So very excited to see over $40 on eBay. That was very encouraging, and that is the goal. So let's move on to some of these individual sales, starting with eBay. I sold this beautiful, gorgeous, just absolutely stunning Sue Wong Nocturne line beaded dress. Somebody asked me to try to show the tags a little bit more close up, so I am trying to remember to do that. But if you guys see Sue Wong in formal wear, I wouldn't pick up everything, but if it is a special piece, some of her stuff can go for quite a bit. You can just tell this has the it factor to it, very unique and intricate design. We listed this for $125 or best offer, and we accepted an offer of $110. This did take multiple months to sell. I've had this since the end of September last year. However, again, with formal wear, it is usually higher price and you gotta wait for the right buyer. Not everybody's wearing, formal wear or a dress like this every single week. So it is a special occasion kind of thing, and I think that that is a pretty good return on investment and a pretty good selling time also, just given that it's formal. But if you see stuff like this, very intricate details, consider looking it up. Next up, I have another category that is trending right now, which is like mob wife aesthetic. A lot of fur coats are selling. I don't know how long that trend will be popular because we are moving into warmer weather, but this one's kind of an artsy mob wife, but I do think that very unique piece and kind of falls under that aesthetic, as well as people just wanting to stand out. So if you see anything wacky like this item or unique like that dress I just showed, it's just worth looking up for sure. People want those one-of-a-kind pieces. So this is the brand Lee Anderson. I'm not very familiar with it, but it is a very interesting, unique multicolor fur trim like sweater jacket. I listed this for $100. It did sell for my full asking price, and it sold the exact same day that we listed it. So definitely a brand in a category that I would keep my eye out for. Next up, this is another Bolo brand. This is Ace and Jig. You guys know I've sold quite a bit of this brand recently. I sold that multicolor patchwork jacket for close to $200 that I got on that trip to Virginia. This is a different piece. This is a more plain item. It is an Aztec wrap dress. And if you guys didn't know this brand, like, you might pass over something like this, right? It almost looks kind of handmade, but very high comps on the Ace and Jig brand. I listed this for $125. This sold on an offer to watcher for $106. This one did take several months to sell, but I think it's because I listed it in winter and it's a shorter dress. Next up, another Bolo brand, and don't worry, it's not just high ASP Bolo brands, although those are my favorite things to show for you guys, just because per your time listing them, you're getting more back on your investment. I did also include towards the middle and into this some more bread and butter stuff that I sold as well with factor stacking. So hang in there with me. We do have some more bread and butter stuff, but this is Doan. This is a fantastic brand to pick up. I don't think I've ever found a single item in this brand that did not sell well. This is called their Chambray top. I was able to find the specific color and everything. They make a lot of like Edwardian, sometimes minimalist, very like oversized, billowy, is kind of their vibe. And so they're pretty easy to identify in my opinion. They have a very specific style, very high quality materials as well. I listed this one for $125, this top, and it sold on an offer to watcher for $106. This one did take about 3 months to sell, so towards the end of my 90-day mark, but still great profits and great return on investment. Next up, this is another Bolo brand that I really like. It's depending on what you have for the sell-through rate, but this is a more substantial piece. It's a jacket, and I think I actually have another one to show you later on in the video. This brand makes a lot of like minimalist, log and look, oversized, kind of almost futuristic looking pieces. Not to be confused with the brand Planet. This is Planet by Lauren G. Sometimes it doesn't say Lauren G, and you just have to memorize what this little logo looks like. And all of their stuff is one size fits all, so good indicator if you've got the right Planet or not. So this is a nylon green jacket. I listed it for $80. It sold for full asking price, and it sold the exact same day that we listed it. So keep your eye out for this stuff. Not just this brand either. If you guys see something that looks like a similar aesthetic, even though it's a different brand, chances are if one brand aesthetic is popular, it might also be true in another brand. So keep your eye out for those types of aesthetics. This is another brand that's caught my attention lately. They make a lot of silk pieces, which also sell well, and it's kind of what they're known for, but I just recently got this in wholesale. I didn't realize they made anything else besides their silk pieces. This is a Lunya pullover hooded sweatshirt. It's got some magnetic details to it. This sold extremely quickly. The same day I listed it as well. I listed it for $75 and it sold for our full asking price. So not just the silk pieces, but some of the other things can perform well also. Have you guys sold this brand? Let me know down in the comments. I see it's like trending a lot on Poshmark. eBay's taken some time to get on board, but overall really great sell-through rates. This is also a Log and Look brand. For anybody asking what Log and Look is, it's like an oversized kind of layered look. Usually minimalist pieces. It's spelled Lagenlook. So if you want to look that up, it is definitely a popular aesthetic right now, especially in spring and summer. So this is a brand that follows along that aesthetic, especially in plus sizes, can perform extremely well. It is Bryn Walker. This is kind of an artsy tunic dress top. So more substantial piece. I listed this for $65. It sold for full asking price, and this only took a couple of weeks to sell. Next up, this is kind of a fun find. We have been selling quite a bit of Giorgio Armani, not just from stuff we found in person at vintage warehouses, but also in thrift stores and then also through wholesale. This one's a wholesale piece. Giorgio Armani is something I kind of steered away from for a while, only because the sell-through rates do not show very highly on eBay. However, I have been experimenting with some more substantial pieces, and we sold quite a bit of stuff that we've listed. Not saying you should go pick up every single piece, but if you've got something more substantial, it might be worth getting. This is a men's Giorgio Armani men's cardigan sweater, which we're coming out of season of too. So again, I think this brand just kind of pulled it through. I listed this for $70. It did sell for full asking price, and this one took about 3 months to sell. Next up, this is another brand that even though we're moving out of season, I've been selling quite a bit of also. It is Pendleton. If you guys see any Pendleton, specifically in the men's department, that has a specific style name on it, like this one does, called the Brightwood shirt, or really any style, if it's specified, more than likely it's something good in that brand. And Pendleton, I don't pick up everything in this brand anymore. To me, it's no longer a bolo that you can pick up anything in. They do have to be specific pieces, in my opinion. But the ones that have the exact style names on them tend to be very popular. So this is called the Brightwood shirt. men's wool zip shirt. I listed this for $55. It sold on an offer for $50. And this one sold the same day that I listed it. Next up, a very popular brand of shoes in spring and summer, and honestly just all the time, like this brand has never lost its popularity, I don't think, is Birkenstock, known for the like comfort sandals, the ones that form to your feet. This is a pair of Birkenstock women's sandals, and we probably could have found the style name, but we didn't, and they still sold, so that's great. But you can see that these have quite a bit of wear on the footbeds. But the tread's still intact, so even though there's a little bit of discoloration, still sells well. So keep your eye out for that, even with a little bit of wear on the footbeds. Listed these for $60. They sold on an offer to watcher for $51, and they only took 6 days to sell. Next up, I think we all know that Johnny Was is a great brand to pick up, but I didn't know that they made activewear polo shirts, and honestly, this tag doesn't even scream Johnny Was to me. So I like showing you guys the outliers just in case it might be something you would pass on at your thrift store, just so you know what kinds of things this brand makes. So this is called the Johnny Was activewear line. It's called the Be Active polo shirt in a size XL. Obviously, pretty interesting pattern. But would you know it was Johnny Was? Probably not. I listed this for $60 and it sold for an offer to watcher for $51. This one took about a month to sell. All right, here's another Pendleton piece. Again, it's got the style name on it. It's called Sir Pendleton. This is a men's plaid button-down shirt. I'm pretty sure it was made out of wool, although I think this fabric tag was missing. I listed this for $50. It did sell for my full asking price, and it only took a couple of weeks to sell. Here's that Planet by Lauren G again. You can see that this label does not say Lauren G on it, but it is the same like font, lettering, everything. And it's also a one size fits all. This is also kind of a login look jacket. And I listed this for $50. There was a small spot on the front. It sold for my full asking price, and it only took 3 days to sell. Next up, some people told me in the comments that this wasn't going to sell just because they have tried to sell this line in the past, but apparently it is selling well again. So if you guys come across this, I am going to suggest that you pick it up. It is Tommy Bahama in collaboration with Pendleton. When I tried to look this up, there wasn't hardly anything on the pre-owned market, so I don't know if it's just a line that only came out once, or it's currently available for sale, or if maybe it comes out like every year. Either way, I think it's a little bit more rare, and I think depending on when you list it, it can sell quickly. You can see it retails for quite a bit too, $125. Really interesting design. This one was also a women's shirt. I did find it new with tags. I paid up for this $13 on that Virginia trip, but I know I could flip it for quite a bit quickly. I listed this for $50. It did sell for full asking price, and this one took a couple of weeks to sell. Next up, here's another Giorgio Armani. This is a vintage women's blazer, again with a more substantial piece. I've been selling a lot of these, so I think it really depends on what the item is, and I think honestly vintage stuff seems to sell better. So just maybe keep that in mind. This one I listed for $50. It did sell for my full asking price, and this one sold the same day we listed it. I've talked about Rothys in the last video. I still have several pairs of Rothys that I got from that wholesaler. Thank you, by the way, if you are watching. They have been selling super well. So here's another example. Rothys, if you look the sell-through rate up, it's actually on the decline, but some of their specific pieces can do well, so I'm continuing to pick them up. These were a pair of pointed toe flats. We listed them for $50. They sold on an offer to watcher for $42, and they sold within just 6 days of listing. Next up, this is a brand that performs extremely well for me, specifically in spring and summer. It's kind of an outdoorsy wear, kind of like sometimes athletic wear line called Title IX. Not to be confused with the Three Dots brand, because I think their logo looks kind of similar. But Title IX is a fantastic brand to pick up. I love specifically selling their dresses. Their dresses perform really well, but even their tops and their pants can perform well also, and they're pretty common to come across. So keep your eye out for Title IX. I listed these pants for $35. They did sell for my full asking price. They did take several months to sell, but they're kind of an ankle pant and I listed them in the dead of winter, so I think that's why. All right, next up, this is not a brand that I think you should memorize. It's called Cotton On, but rather the style, and this is something I'll pick up all year round, which are Kuji inspired sweaters where they have that 3D knit, specifically when they have really nice multicolor like this one is. I just always make sure to include 3D knit in the title. So again, kind of a no-name brand, but has the 3D knit to it, has a good colorway. I listed this for $45 just off of style alone. It sold on an offer to watcher for $38. This one did take several months to sell and it ended up selling on an international sale. All right, this one also doesn't have 100% comps on eBay. However, I picked up several of these from a wholesaler and we have actually been flipping them pretty quickly. I've been really surprised. They are loudmouth golf pants. They used to go for a ton more. Since I think the sell-through rate and the average sale price has dropped a little bit, but you can still get pretty decent money out of them. These are a pair of camo shorts. You can see there's like some lady graphics on there too. I listed these a little bit higher than the other ones because they were more unique, but they are a golf pant brand. They're called Loudmouth Golf. I listed these for $40. They sold on an offer to watcher for $34, and these sold the next day after listing them. Next up, a collaboration to be on the lookout for, or rather a material sold within a brand to look for, is Baird McNutt. If you guys see any kind of J. Crew collaboration, if you see anything that says J. Crew and then there's like another brand or specific fabric, I would recommend looking it up. They tend to be a pretty high sell-through rate and pretty good average sale price. So this is J. Crew Irish Linen by Baird McNutt, which is a popular linen brand. This is a men's size large, just pretty plain button-up men's shirt. I listed this for $35. It did sell for my full asking price. This one did take a few months to sell, but again, linen is just now coming back into season. I think that's why it waited. All right, next up is a brand that performs pretty well in plus sizes. If you get something less than a plus size, I don't think the sell-through rate is as high, but plus sizes for sure have a pretty high sell-through rate in this brand. It is Clara Sunwoo. They make kind of artsy, more mature, usually tunic style tops. This is a 1X. I listed it for $35. It sold on an offer to watcher for $30. And this one took a while to sell. I've had this one for almost a year, you guys. That's crazy. All right, so maybe even plus sizes, they don't sell that quickly, or I just listed it wrong, but made $30 off of it. I would say definitely do your comps with the size on this, but traditionally for me, plus sizes in this brand have performed well. And next up is Sundance. I love selling this brand, and specifically I like selling it in larger sizes, things like Free People, Anthropology, Sundance, and brands like that. Size large and up, like the sell-through rate's just so much better. And so anytime I see a larger size in those brands, I usually get it regardless of style, just because I know how quickly it sells for me. So this is a pretty plain, not traditional for Sundance top. It's just a plain purple, pretty piece, but not multicolor embroidered by any means. But it's a size XXL. I listed this for $35. It sold within about 2 weeks for an offer to watcher of $30. So again, very quickly, just given the size. All right, moving into some more bread and butter pieces. These are Catherine's. You guys know I like selling this brand in plus sizes. It really depends. I won't pick up anything super plain. You know, there's got to be some other factors other than the fact that it's a plus size. But I will tell you guys that size 4X in Catherine's is a hot seller. And I don't know why specifically that size, but I sold several. You're going to see them here in a row of 4X pieces for quite a bit of money. So this is a plaid sleeveless top in a size 4X. I listed it for $25. It sold for my full asking price. And it took, let's see here, this one took about 3 months to sell. And these sold to different people too, by the way. This wasn't a bundle or anything. There's another Catherine size 4X. It's a green embroidered top. So you can see, it's has something else going for it other than being a plain t-shirt. Listed this for $25. It also sold for my full asking price. This one also took a few months to sell. And here is another 4X from a different buyer. I listed this one a little bit higher at $30, just because I thought it had a little bit more going for it. I thought it was more along the lines of what the core buyer of Catherine's was looking for, so we priced it a tiny bit higher. Listed it for $30. It sold for an offer to watcher of $25. So they all sold for about $25, which in my opinion is crazy for pre-owned Catherine's. Crazy as in crazy good. So I think you do need a factor stack, and apparently 4X is a really great size in this brand to be selling right now. All right, next up, another brand I like picking up in the plus size realm is Torrid. This brand has really taken a dive on sell-through rates, so you really have to find a substantial piece, something that has quite a bit going for it. This one was their activewear line, and it was a size 3X, which is one of their larger sizes. So that's the reason I got this one. I listed it for $25. It did sell for my full asking price, and it took about 2 weeks to sell. Here's another pair of those loudmouth golf shorts. These ones had a couple of spots on them, so I priced them a little bit lower. Just plaid checkered. I listed these for $30. They sold on an offer to watcher for $25, and they took just 4 days to sell. Next up is a brand that doesn't exclusively sell plus sizes, but their plus sizes sell pretty well for me. Again, more bread and butter. This is ModCloth. So whenever I see a plus size in this brand, I usually look up the style and everything. This one I couldn't say no to. I think I picked this up in Virginia, and I think I might have even said I know it's not anywhere close to Halloween, and I might have to wait a year, but someone's going to love this because I love this. It's a Nordic print bat sweater. I mean, how cute is this? So it's a size 1X. I got it off of Style. I listed it for $30. It actually did sell for my full asking price, and it only took a couple of weeks to sell. So how about that? The gut feeling was correct. Here's another bread and butter. I like picking up this brand in plus size tops as well. It is Calvin Klein 2X. This one was new with defects. So it was new with tags, but it had some spots. This is a really pretty office top. Again, with all these plus size brands, in order to get the kind of prices you're looking for, they've got to have some factors stacking to them. In this case, this one is, it's pretty print. It's kind of an office style top, plus it's new with tags, although it did have defects, but it sold for full asking price of $30, even with those flaws. And this one took a few months to sell. Moving on to some of the Poshmark sales. I know I show Lululemon a lot, but I feel like some people have given up on Lululemon, and I'm just here to show you what's still selling well for us in Lululemon. And their shorts are definitely still performing well. I'm able to sell them consistently for like $30-$35 pre-owned in just about any style. So I'm continuing to pick up Lululemon shorts. This one's actually a skirt, so a skirt with shorts under it. This was called the Court Rival. Very pretty little skirt. I think I originally listed this for $40 and accepted an offer of $30. Another pair of Lululemon. These are a pair of Run Speed Up shorts. They actually had the logo faded, which we made sure to note, and they still sold for $30. So keep your eye out for Lululemon shorts. I'm also on the hunt during this time of the year for outdoorsy brands like the North Face and possibly Columbia, and this brand REI, their newer line Co-op, and looking for them in like the hiking gear. This is a pair of not necessarily hiking pants, but a more substantial pair of pants. So we looked them up. They were actually called the Swiftland running pants, and they had really great comps. I listed these probably close to $40 and accepted an offer of $34. But in general, REI is an outdoorsy wear brand, and some other stuff can perform well. You got to comp it. All right, next up is a newer to me brand that has been performing very well for us. I think we've sold mostly tops and a couple of dresses. This is Zarina, and they tend to make gauzy materials type stuff. A lot of their stuff looks very minimalistic. So again, if you didn't know, to look for stuff like this, you might pass over it, which is why I love sharing them on the videos. This one did have a spot of discoloration on it. Otherwise, I would have listed the dress much higher. But we ended up accepting an offer of $59 on this midi dress with a flaw, which if you can sell something with a flaw for $59, that should tell you how great of a brand it is. It is pronounced Serena, but if you guys are just listening and you're not seeing the screen, it is spelled Xirena, and it's a pretty simple tag with red lettering. All right, this is an Athleta piece. You guys know I barely pick up Athleta anymore. However, this one is one of their newer styles. It is called the Cloudlight Restore Top. Let me see if we have a picture of it. Yeah, so if you look at the inside labels, there's usually a dating here. This is holiday 2020. So within the last, few years, I guess I'm kind of getting close to not being a few years, but close enough. One of the newer styles. Plus this one we found new with tags. But I still keep my eye out for the modern athletic wear pieces, and they all kind of have the same feel to them. They seem to all have this cloud light material to them. So I keep my eye out for those pieces specifically, but this sold for $32. This one is a higher end brand that does not have a 100% sell-through rate. However, I'm usually willing to sit on it because it does produce such great profits. It is ALC, again with the very simple tag if you didn't know to look for it. A good indicator potentially of a good brand is a very simple tag with very simple lettering. If I see something like this, I always look it up. This is a cutout sweater top. It sold for $60 pre-owned. Here's another pair of Birkenstocks. These are not sandals, but they are a fur-lined mule. So Birkenstocks is making some pretty interesting pieces where if you didn't know to look for it, again, I think you might pass on something like this. So pull-on mules, kind of wool-lined. These sold for $59, again in warmer weather. So keep your eye out for Birkenstocks, apparently of all styles. Speaking of Anthropologie, in larger sizes like we talked about earlier, along with Sundance and Free People, this is a 3X Anthropologie mini dress. If I see Anthropologie plus size anything, I grab it no matter what, as long as there aren't flaws, because it just sells so quickly for me, and I know that I'm going to at least be able to get 25 bucks for it. So this is a mini dress, 3X. It sold for 40 bucks on Poshmark. Here's another Serena item. This is kind of out of the norm for them, actually. Here's that label again. This is a skirt, a silk blend skirt, which is outside of their gauzy-like materials, but it still sold for $51. So keep your eye out for that. And I'm still selling a lot of cashmere pieces. This is Neiman Marcus. We've been selling a lot of Neiman Marcus cashmere, which Neiman Marcus isn't typically a brand that I pick up in general, but for some reason their cashmere pieces are performing well, so I'm keeping my eye out for that. I do think that cashmere is really going to slow down. I think it already has, actually. But I still want to share these sales with you because if you're still finding cashmere sweaters and they're a good enough brand, they can still sell for full price, like this one did at $40. Here's a pair of We the Free jeans. I almost never pick up like any kind of Free People jeans or We the Free jeans. Like they just do not sell. However, when I see that they are an exaggerated flare leg, we usually look up the style. These were called the Gummy Flare Leg Denim Jeans, and they were new with tags, which is the main reason that we got them. And they sold on an offer to Watcher for $49. Again, pretty much any other denim jean in Free People and all of its lines is not going to sell, but if you notice that it has a flare leg, it might be worth looking up. This was another Virginia Trip pickup. This is the brand L&S or Low & Sons. Really great comps on this brand if you guys find it. Here is the little emblem here. This one was kind of like a travel, could have been considered like a diaper bag or a laptop bag. And here is the label, pretty simple. Like I said, great comps on this. I believe I paid up for this as well. I think I might have paid like around 20 and expected to sell it for 60 bucks or higher. This one ended up selling pretty quickly for $63. Here's a designer brand. I think we talked about this recently. It is Thom Browne. I don't want to say exclusively, but I've sold a lot of their sweatshirts, and they all have these like lines on one side of the sleeves. So I guess that might be an indicator for you of the brand Thom Browne. This one had several spots and pilling on it, and it still sold for $85. I think had it been in better condition, we could have sold it for over $100. So definitely keep your eye out for Thom Browne. And here is that label once again. All right, this is a new brand to me, completely new, never heard of it before. It's called Free City, and here is the label. It says, life, nature, love, free city, let's go together. Honestly gives me Aviator Nation vibes. I don't know if this is a brand off of Aviator Nation or what, but definitely gives me Aviator Nation vibes. This sold, I'm pretty sure, the same day we listed it. It was like super fast, on an offer for $80. $80 for pre-owned sweatpants. These did have the drop crotch, which is a pretty popular style right now. Streetwear is really popular, and drop crotch is a factor within streetwear that is performing well, so we made sure to include that in our title. Next up, this is the brand Proof. You guys know, or maybe you don't, that I love selling the menswear brands that are on the Huckberry website. If you guys haven't been on huckberry.com, I would suggest you guys go over there and memorize all the brands that are on there. They have really great sell-through rates, and they sell for good money. This is probably the lowest tier of items that I've sold from Huckberry. It is just a men's plain button-down shirt, nothing really special, and it still sold very quickly for $28 on Posh. Another pair of Lululemon shorts. These are called the Run Up Speed shorts in a size 0. They sold for $30. So again, between that $30 and $40. And lastly, another pair of Rothys. These ones went for $42. They're just a pair of, again, pointed toe. And maybe that's the key indicator. Maybe the pointed toes are doing really well right now. Either way, Rothys, I would still pick them up.
Alright guys, so that's it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. If you're not already and you would like to be, don't forget to subscribe down below. Hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified every single time these videos go live. Thanks so much for being here. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.